That's like a five of spades, right? A five of clubs, miscommunication.
Yeah, and it's Mercury retrograde too.
It's Mercury retrograde. So good morning. Um, welcome to our weekly meetup. So we talking about the five of clubs this week. So thank you for joining us, and make sure you check out everyone's individual handles and um, Instagram pages as well. Guided by the Cards Growing with the Season GWTS Family 1111 on Instagram. So yeah, we're just talking. I said miscommunication because I sent someone the wrong reading and for the wrong birthday. I've never done that before. I was exhausted, to be honest. And I'm looking at this card and I'm like flabbergasted that this person's cards is meeting up. It's like, why is all of these things in alignment? It was like I did it at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Might be
April
why.
April you said what?
That might be why. It
Yeah,
fucked up.
April the 17th. I thought I seen their birthday as, and it was a four of diamonds, and then adding up that whole birthday was a four 1999. So if you're born April 17, 1999, your life path four. So it was like all these fours. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Four diamonds for life path four. I was like, wow, this is pretty dope. And I was like so excited. And I had so much energy too. Like I had so much energy.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and you said Mercury retrograde and five of clubs, Mercury, Saturn. It's like, yeah, it's miscommunications, right?
Hmm.
I was like everywhere. I wasn't everywhere, but I was excited. Like I had like a lot of energy. And thinking about my five of clubs, and he has like so much energy. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. I see why. Not saying like saying every five of clubs has ADHD, but in general, that particular energy can be very disruptive. It
Hmm.
could be emotional. Looking at the five of hearts, looking at like a high vibrating five of hearts is interesting as well, because I think that can be theatric. Like Raku, he's a five of hearts, Scorpio. And someone's asking me like, what does that five of hearts mean and what does it represent? And looking at it, I know during 2020 we were talking about the five of hearts was somewhere in the United States spread, I believe. We were talking about children being displaced that have issues with communication and those things as well. So yeah, the five of clubs week, card of communication sits behind me, so it pushes me in life, right?
And then you have a five in Jupiter too. So that energy is a lot. And the five it's a it can be chaotic. It can be, like you said, I think disruptive is a good word for that energy, because and I think too with the five of hearts, when it comes to like children, they're I look at my younger one, and I'm watching her form and or change form, really, because she's going from a little girl to a young lady. And it's like, how can we look at it as being disruptive or out of control, or but truthfully I think it's more of like they don't know how to express what they feel. And especially when they transition from that 8, 9, 10, from single digit to double digit, right? Because once you leave single digit, that's it. There's no going back. And
Mhm.
so I think that's a big transition. That to me gives me five of hearts, vibe, because now they're like, what do I do with all this? Like, hormonally, your body is changing, your mind, and how, fear starts to kind of come in, because the conversation of death, like, mommy, I don't want you to die. And it's like, just, they're having these, you know and because they're more aware, they're in their conscious mind now, rather than in that, back brain of being a kid. So that five of hearts to me can be, for kids especially, if they don't feel in a healthy space to express what they feel, or then it can get even then more disruptive, with
Yeah,
that five.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, I also noticed that with kids, they are trying to get to where they got to go, and they don't always know how to like grieve or release what's been in a way, you know, like, oh, I want to be a big person. I want to be like this. I want to be like, kind of like, I want to be famous. I want to be this. I want to be that. Like you're running ahead of yourself a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And that creates a little anxiety in a character, no?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And the fives, you know, we talk about today being a 2 of spades day, and the 2 of spades transformation card is the 5 of clubs. So, you know, I think the 2 energy, especially this one being the 2 of all twos, right? There is a very strong energy, desire to connect. And I even think astrologically, that something is happening with Venus. I can't remember off the top of my head today, but it relates to relationships and how we connect. And there can be some, now we're also building to the full moon, right? In Scorpio, which is a very deep, deep energy. Today being a 2 of spades, tomorrow being an ace of spades when we have this eclipse. And, you know, there's going to be a probably strong shift in relationships and how you relate. And, you know, because that 5 of clubs that it transforms into, it's seeking more, you know, that's the 5 energy. It's seeking more. So not getting stuck in a partnership that just out of, you know, a desperation to be partnered, right?
Out of convenience, you know, convenience, right. Comfort, that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. So allowing yourself to be free, you know, to be who you are outside of that partnership, that connection, I think is important too.
Yeah, the Growing with the Seasons is a 5 of clubs. So I did a bunch of research on 5 of clubs, and it makes sense what you're saying, right? You know what I mean? It's very interesting that it comes through like that today with the eclipse coming. I'm going on a full moon hike tomorrow night with the 5 of clubs who works in my business. So once again, the cards continue to plague my life and inspire me to grow. But I hear you about the mental and emotional restless. I often wonder if there's a way that the two things are trying to come into some kind of alignment, right? Because there's that going ahead, getting excited, and then there's the emotional activity and the sensitivity that doesn't always get met with the enthusiasm.
Well, I think too, the 5 of clubs, I believe it transforms to the 6 of hearts. So it really essentially just wants peace.
Exactly.
It really just wants peace. And how it's it's funny. I think they spend a lot of time searching for it outside of themselves when it's within them, you know. I think that's important. And they, you know, they, even though they seem very unbalanced, once they like I think they have to realize that they need that freedom, they need that space, but they, you know, there also is that sense of things coming into alignment, like you just said, you know, and it's not an alignment outside of them, it's within them, and they have to align from there, or that's when they can get like completely whacked in their mind, because they don't feel balanced.
Yeah, and then they're like pulling at the outside world to make it okay, which is definitely things that Growing with the Seasons has done over time. But
Dope Minerals is a 5 of clubs.
Interesting. Maybe that's why we're friends.
Yeah, Dope Minerals.
And I used to take it away initially when I first got the sense of it. And actually, I think I looked it up even before I knew about the cards. I was just looking for what the word meant and stuff. But anyways, it was conversations, because I think even the conversations we have with ourselves are really important, because a lot of times we're talking to ourselves in the way people talk to us. And it wasn't maybe always very compassionate or aware, or, you know, maybe too, I don't know. I don't want to judge however it was done. I'm just saying how we talk to ourselves, the internal conversation, and then being able to master that, I do believe is part of that process we're talking about.
Absolutely. And if you weren't talked to in a healthy way, a nice way, a kind way, their inner voice is what was said, right? And that's why I think one of the biggest things that I've learned in this space is like, you know, actually even yesterday had a, you know, it's a, like if you have a challenging aspect, like in your chart, right? Let's say Mercury square Chiron, you know, you came with that. Like that's what that zero. So there was nothing that put that there, but that's what you came to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that kind of takes off this happened, you know, to me, it actually happened for you for a reason, you know, because now if you have that, right, and yeah, maybe you weren't talked to pleasantly, so your wound is within that internal voice, and so your process is to heal that internal voice, so then you can help other people heal as well, you know. So it is that inner voice. And I think the 5 of clubs, what is their Mercury card? It's the 3 of diamonds, right? Yeah.
So in our business mode, doing our work. Come on.
So they're even their beginning, you know, that Mercury being a 3, there was maybe no stability. Even there may have been so much things like kind of happening that they didn't have a grounded first 13 years of like the inner voice, right?
Or they internalized things that were not their truths. They were someone else's truth. Like, you know,
right.
My Jacket Club's mom stands loudly on, she speaks his truth and nothing but the truth. So if the truth hurts, too bad, so sad. You know, that's like part of her mantra, right? So some of the things that she might have perceived to be truths about me or about life may not have been my truths.
Right.
May not have been the way I understood it or felt it, but it became a powerful voice inside me because she was the mom lady and she speaks the truth. Oh my gosh, you know, that must be the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah. Seeing and just being able to see it in full progress, I think, especially from the perspective that I have, that 5 of club at an early age, it is a lot of insecurity, instability, relationship issues as well, you know, especially
Both of our businesses had that, right? With our partners and things, we had relationship issues in the early ages. I'm sorry.
we didn't even make it like a full year being in business. And you know, my own card is the Uranus card to the 5 of clubs. So, and and then that person's card is also, it was the Neptune card. So, you know, we were both into that as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make the metaphor. I just think it's funny. But go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're fine. No, it definitely adds up, and as Gina was saying earlier, Two of Spades transforms into it, and looking at like the savior concept of the 5 of clubs, I think they do want peace of mind. They do want to help people out. You know, they do value relationships, and it's interesting because looking at one of the books, it says like the 5 of clubs is another card that's like one of the most unmeasurable cards, according to one of the love books. But looking at the transformation before is like the best friendship or soulmate, you know, 2 of Spades, like the working partner and balancing out relationships, and then you transforms into the 6 of Hearts is like, you know, another full-blown karmic relationship card, paying your debts in relationships. And with the challenging 5 of Hearts, and you're talking about like communication, so it's very important for them to express their feelings and to communicate how they feel, and sometimes like there's projections and like like trying to find the self-awareness of what you want and what you need in relationships, and it's like emotional restlessness though. So like, where do they find that balance? And looking at their early childhood, the 3 of diamonds doesn't make it better, right? Challenging, and just that whole Mercury row is all challenging hearts, you know. Well, going into the Uranus, like, it's all challenging the emotions. So I think that's what makes, I think, that first row, and they say the 3 of diamonds, Queen of diamonds relationships, the worst, you know, I think, because like that challenging of all those hearts, and especially the 6 of hearts, trying to find balance. But yeah, I think the 5 of clubs is like a real emotional and a savior type of card as well. They really do want peace, and it may cause some troubles maybe within their relationships to communicate how they feel, and just to find that mental peace. And I've seen them in a younger age also want to help people as well, like have a real like humanitarian spirit. Like I look at the Jack of Diamonds, kind of made me remind me of the Jack of Diamonds. You're talking about that freedom. The 5 of Hearts transforms into the Jack of Diamonds as well. So you're talking about like wanting this freedom and be able to express yourself. So I do kind of see those particular aspects and not wanting their voice to be restricted or projected upon it, and telling their truths, you know, like you, Madeline, was saying. Like, I think that's really important with like clubs is what they say and telling their truth and letting their voice be heard. You know, I call it like the card of disruption, right? Like the class clown.
So let me just do something for the bigger audience, in that you guys talk so fluidly this language of cards, but when you keep saying transforms into this, transforms into this, let's break that down a little bit just for the bigger audience who really are clueless about what this card game is. And when they hear those things, I know from myself and from the feedback I get, they're like, what are they talking about? You know, so the idea that we transform, like, I'm going to throw out some things. Does it mean that that card will live that path next time, or that's the goal of the energies transformation? Like, that's the healing potential? Like, from your perspective, what does this transform into mean?
As far as I've seen, as far as like past life stuff, sometimes people like to get into that, and I've also seen like the challenging karma cards and those things be considered as north nodes, south nodes, those things. But for me, outside of that, me looking at my transformation, being able to like really look at Aquarius, I'm like, now I'm on her website. That's funny, right? Like, I went to her website. Like, she is like my yeah, she's my transformation card. So like, so when I look at the transformation card, I'm able to really see it, because I've kind of seen how I've transformed it totally just from the cards itself. And as far as my self-awareness and my development, what things I need to do, like the Three of Diamonds, you think is like really scattered, you know, can be chaotic. Some people say the rebel without the cause is Uranus Mercury, right? So there's a lot of energy when it comes to that. Like, Uranus is almost like electricity, so it's like very dynamic, you know. Can be around like business, theaters, those things. But overall, the Three of Diamonds is also to find a peace of mind, you know, transforming to the Four of Clubs. So becoming more gathered, becoming more structured and thoughtful. And the Four of Clubs is your organizer around like groups and information and knowledge, and knowledge for profit as well, for sale, you know. So you look at the Three of Diamonds as this materialistic, masterful, like this, the person that uses finances has the Queen of Diamonds. So you're looking at the diamonds, right? So creating business opportunities. They sometimes it says always in, I would say kind of like connecting, using money from one thing and then going in and robbing Peter to pay Paul. They say like using, like going to borrow money and to pay for somebody else. So you're looking at somebody that's using finances, trading and those things into stocks, you know, sometimes. So, but the Four of Clubs is the person that uses information to sell or can profit from that information. So there's this transformation that the Three of Diamonds does as far as using the information and knowledge they have to profit or gain in some type of way. So your transformation is kind of like, for me, it's like what you're transforming to and gaining out of this from your life, and gaining particular skill sets almost, you know, for me. But so, yeah, Gina can tell what she sees as well.
I just look at it as like your progressed sun, if you will. You know what I mean? Like, if
and
you
they call it the Earth. Yeah, the Earth. Yeah.
Right. Like you came here, right? And yes, you're born a Leo, or you're born a Gemini, or you're born a Cancer, but you grow. You're not going to stay there. Right. So I feel like the transformation card is more about as you get older. Like, you're a 3, I'm a Jack of Hearts. You know, early in my life, there may not have been a lot of stability and things working, you know, what I may have felt like some challenges, but that transforming into the Four of Spades, you know, and seeing that it goes from Venus, Jupiter to Jupiter, Venus, realizing that, you know, even through some chaotic measures and what is deemed as loss and disappointments, I've always, you know, there's that still ending up satisfied or protected or content or, recovered, even through, adversities. There's a recovery that can happen right with that 4 of spades. So I look at it as like it's a growth process. As you get older, as you grow, right, you're going to grow into that energy. You're transforming into that card and embodying. I would look at the placement of where it sits, is just as important. Where does your transformation card sit on those plates, right? Mine sits Jupiter, Venus. So, knowing that, to me, when you understand that energy and how they work together, then I think you make better sense of it. And that it is a growth process. To me, it's like your progressed sun. And, yes, you came in as this, but you don't stay there. You don't stay, everything moves. So as everything is transiting and, happening, you are going from that one energy to another energy. It's a growth. It's like a progression to me.
Yesterday was a 4 space day, so right, yesterday was 4 space days. Today's 3 space day.
No, yesterday was 3 of spades.
Okay, 3 of
2 of
spades.
spades.
Yeah, it was Tuesday. So how is it that
we did a whole room, Rashad, remember?
Right, we did. Yeah, it is on Clubhouse.
That was a really good room Tuesday night.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the 4
that was
spaces.
powerful.
Yeah, it was. The experiences and the reflections were flabbergasting. I think as always with these cards, right? and that adds, I think the Jack of Hearts, they say it's like Christ consciousness, right? And then that adds a little bit more texture and layer, I think, to the 4 of spades. As far as like I look at the transformations cards also in reverse, like transforms
absolutely
that card also to kind of see like what is that other card aspiring to be and grow into, and who are they looking at and in some type of way, right? So you transform into the 4 of spades, and it has having. I look at it. We were talking about like the ancestors in the spiritual context. They're very just naturally spiritual people. I think some of it's not even forceful, they have this natural connection to their ancestors or to this inheritance of wealth or knowledge or whatever it may be, family values, because spades includes all of the cards. So looking at the importance, I think the Jack of Hearts transforming into that. How is that like for you, Gina?
The maturity, Jack of Hearts is a very young, my theme song. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. So, but the 4 of spades.
Change that song, Gina. We've got to get you a new song.
No, we're not going to get a new song. No. But I can. I feel like that playfulness and that young is just a part. It's never going to go anywhere. But has to be maturity too. There has to be. I think the biggest thing too with the Jack of Hearts, because it's a fixed energy and it doesn't move, a little bit of effort it goes a long way with the energy, right? And getting things accomplished. I think that's a big thing too, because the 4 of spades is and it interestingly enough transforms into a 5. You know what I mean? So it's not meant to stay. It's meant to grow. It's meant to expand. And I think that's a big. Because and even like I love how Rashad, I do the same thing, like I kind of like read the cards in reverse, right? What's behind what's coming from that energy. A 5 supports the Jack of Hearts naturally, right? And then it, if it transforms to a 4, which then transforms to a 5, you see that 5 energy is still, there. You're not meant to stay stuck. Not meant to be a Toys R Us kid my whole life. Like I got to grow up. I got to be responsible. I've got to, mature. I think that's a big part.
How do you sing this song all the time and have to do it at the same time? Like that's confusing to me.
I can balance it. I'm not going to, even in my maturity, I'm never going to lose my youthfulness and my playfulness.
Oh, yeah, of course. I don't, of course, me either. Yeah. But not wanting to grow up every time you say that, that's an imprint, that's how
adulting is way overrated. So.
Well, I think it's more becoming more in your heart. I don't even know if it's adulting, because like to me, the more I pay attention to this transformation stuff, I'm like, oh, wow. So we're actually all evolving in consciousness by doing this. Like there's different levels of consciousness for each one of the cards. And by learning how to use the consciousness together and to be able to evolve into the next version, but still staying conscious of what you understood as the Jack of Hearts, as you connect to the ancestors and the foundation of the four, and allow the changes to come from what you learned from your process. Like, I think of it like we're in a journey.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And you think about it too, like the Jack of Hearts has the 2 9s right off the rip. It really actually puts more into context of those 9 of clubs, those 9s being wishes fulfilled, being a blessing rather than a disappointment, because I transform into the 4 of spades. That's dope, right? That's a win. It's a victory. It's a satisfaction, and it's a healing too, right? You can always with a 4 of spades, it's a recovery. It's a you feel good. You feel satisfied. You're healed. I think that's why the Jack of Hearts has such strong capabilities of healing, right? But I now connect the energy with the whole, putting it in next to when you're on an airplane and there's turbulence and the oxygen's mass drops down, you can't go and put it on everybody else. You have to put it on yourself first, or you're not going to recover. You're going to die. So
that just means you can't look outside until the inside is
right.
well. Right? Because as long as we're looking outside and the inside's still not okay, we're actually not creating any more than just more chaos, really.
So something came to me, and I'll share it because I've been really like a huge epiphany to me. Stop looking and start seeing. You know what I mean? So stop looking and start seeing. I think that it was a huge shift for me just the last few weeks, because it made sense, because sometimes we tend to look for everything and we're actually missing what is already there.
I love that. That's a good one, G. I like that a lot. What I was thinking about is how, so say the King of Diamonds will be the Ace of Hearts, right? That's my transformation, right? So that like self-love and working from the oneness and that kind of stuff. I don't see it as a self-centered. I see aces as oneness, but we can get caught up in ourselves because of the paradigm we're living in. But that's my distortion. So I'll live there. But my sisters and I were away last weekend, and it was comical how I would recall things in like, oh, I had to do this and this and this. And they were like, you didn't fucking do that, Madeline. You didn't make dinner. You didn't help. You were fucking bossy. You were like, they were like revealing some of my more bratty King of Diamonds stuff, but I was holding it like this responsibility. Now, of course, I was the oldest, and there was a way that I was responsible for them in ways they didn't understand. And I probably did boss them around the same way she bossed me around. And I made sure they did the work and not me, like a good businesswoman, right? Like how so, but it was
facilitating
crazy.
As a kid.
Okay, so you make dinner, you get this, I'll be over here. I gotta go talk to the boys in the backyard, like whatever, So, but it was funny how that uber responsibility that I have felt on my character, past life, this life, whichever, right? That responsibility played out in the way I was remembering everything. Right. And they were telling me, no, that's not how it happened. It was like this, but then in other ways it's back and forth. But I was like, wow, that's really interesting how once you're kind of imprinted coming into life or in a role, firstborn, whatever, to be a certain way, like you say, you start to see everything like that when it's not really like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's another thing too. Like, you're a parent, you have, different, multiple children. One child is going to view you differently than the other. And it's very much connected to their moon and their, their chart. So, and even with twins, one is going to, even they're a few minutes apart, that moon is moved, shifted, or anything. It's a different experience. So
they have different risings. They don't have different moons. They have different risings. One
okay. So
Gemini, one has a Cancer rising.
There you go.
They respond to me differently.
Exactly. And so your sisters, yes, you saw it this way, but they saw it a different way because that's their perception. I think that's important for the King of Diamonds because you transform into an ace, right? And so, that's you experience. And remember, you're a one-eyed energy. So there's still that one, focus. And so sometimes
I noticed those are Jack of Hearts. I was looking at the cards and how they both with the same one eye too, like their faces are in the same direction. Hence being the Saturn card of the Jack of Hearts. So it makes sense.
And you have the Jack of Spades in your spread, correct? Right? That's the other one-eyed Jack. So there's the two one-eyed Jacks and the one-eyed King. I have all of them. I am one of them. I have all of them. So I'd be blindsided as a mug, you know. You're good. I know you're good. No, you're not good. I missed all of that.
Oh gosh. That was so authentic. No, that's very true. Looking at those fixed cards and the reason they called it the one-eyed king and those things, right? Having to look at the different perspective, and also like the I believe it's the Queen of Spades, looks right into the field as well. I believe so. There's all these different sayings as far as the cards, but it all, if you know the spread itself, you see why it says that and why it has these particular relationships. Like last week I was saying, like they put these essences in the book of cards for the initiates to remember these morals, principles, and codes through life. So like you said, the King of Diamonds has the 8 of clubs. What is that, your Saturn? Yeah. So having that fixed perspective or that fixed point of view, and then the Jack of Spades has the 8 of clubs, Mercury.
It's so weird about.
Well, and its challenge is a 3. Sorry, your challenge is a 3. So opening all 3 eyes is your biggest, challenge in life, to see it from, the other way. It's negative and positive, right?
Yeah, well, the 3 sisters, we all definitely have very different views, but I'll say that in character, or at least in response to the universal, opportunity to see things in big picture, my sisters, the 8 of Diamonds and the 7 of Hearts, are a lot more rigid about how things should be and not be than me. I'm the one who can see her point and my point and feel like, so I don't know, I guess everybody's got a different perspective. What do you think we should do? Whereas my 8 of Diamonds sister, man, like, she locks strong on what she believes, and she'll wall you like, nope, like that's that, and it's like, wow, like, Jenny girl, like, come on, and she's just like, nope, that's how it is for me. And it's just, and the 7 of Hearts sister, she has a strong husband, has strong political beliefs, so they think very differently politically. So there was a part of the car ride where I just put on my headphones because they started talking that stuff. I was like, oh no, I'm not even going there. But like, that's just, I'm surprised, because like, I take it that I carry that, one-eyed game, and I hear myself say a lot of the same stuff over and over again. So I'm obviously a little bit tweaked in a direction. But when I'm in reflection to a bigger audience, a lot of times I have more perspective and ability to see perspective than some of the other people.
You sit in 3 of clubs house, so you kind of have to, and that's not to say no other cards have fixed cards either, because those cards definitely said 7 of Hearts and 8 of Hearts, right?
8 of Diamonds.
8 of Diamonds, and what else?
She's an Aquarius, 8 of Diamonds, February 17th, and Maggie is October 28th, 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts.
Scorpio, 7 of Hearts.
I was just talking to a 7 of Hearts about a fixed perspective that I was like, once you see something your way, like, it's no other way. Like, and they have a 7 of Diamonds Mercury. It's like this it is a,
they transform into Jack of Spades, a one-eyed Jack.
Right,
dude.
And
that's the thing, like, that's how you, like you said, reading it backwards, reading it forwards, and seeing how it all connects. That's how you see. And it has the 7 of Hearts also has the Jack of Hearts as Mars. So it has both of those one-eyed Jacks.
Yeah, right. And the Jack of Hearts Mars. Oh my God. Yeah. So when they get mad, oh yeah, right. So yeah, man.
See that when you put it, like when you kind of do that thing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm for sure know that I came into life on purpose with these girls. All of my chart stuff is sibling stuff. They were the perfect sisters to me to have in this lifetime. I thank them for it out loud. Like, I'm aware that they're part of my Saturn and Pisces right now in the 3rd house. I get it all. I'm just curious but what you said is true. I mean, I guess bottom line, all of us have to be able to see more perspectives, but also not lose what we know. And I think that's the reason people get rigid and strong, is because they get washed over at other points of their life, and they want to be able to stand in something that they can feel strong in. It's interesting how much our constitution enjoys righteousness in our mind, whereas our constitution to me is far more than that energetically. But there's a way we create this sensation of like, yeah, and that like, I guess feels strong, even though it could be like kind of full of shit, but you don't care because you want to have that feeling. Do you know what I mean?
Being secure as far as who you are, and especially I think and within your emotions and what you think. I think for the 7 of Hearts and 8 of Diamonds, especially like you said, when I look at the 8 of Diamonds, I'm thinking financial security, a power of knowledge and self, a sense of control of their environment and things. So most definitely.
Yeah, because anytime Jenny shares to her, like when one sister shares to the other sister, the 8 of Diamonds, I'll use your cards. When the 8 of Diamonds has a way she's going to do it, and the 7 of Hearts says, well, la 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 la, and I'm like, la 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 la.
That was great. That was awesome.
And one reason the King of Diamonds is also that the one I King, because they also have a battle axe behind them as well. They have to watch for betrayals and those things. Has a 7 of Spades supporting, so there's a lot of different other aspects supporting that story also.
What do you mean then, axe? I'm confused by that part. What do you mean?
The King of Diamonds or like kings in itself are targets sometimes just because they have a lot of power, will, maybe jealous.
And strength, we talked about that. Like I could take it, like by jokes and said, but Madeline, like you're always the strongest of us. You could take it.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to just kind of guard yourself and watch yourself and the people around you and those things, making sure you watch for your enemies and use a council of people, and those type of things. So
yeah, interesting.
You're the Pluto card to the 7 of Hearts.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how y'all are very, say that again, Rashad.
I said I've seen that in real life.
Yeah. But that's, it's just fascinating to me how much you guys are very much like connected, like throughout the spreads. You know what I mean? Like super.
Farmer's a 7 of Hearts. My business partner in Sea and Nectar Heart Hive is a 7 of Hearts. The guy who's doing the editing for my podcast is a 7 of Hearts. My sister is my fan. Like Maggie and I are really different, but like she's like, you are so brave, and I'm so in love with your adventure. I could never do it, but I'm so glad that you're doing that. She's a fan. Mm-hmm. So I'm really surrounded by 7 of Hearts, and like in pretty significant positions in my life, like not just like my neighbor. Do you know what I mean? Like real deal stuff. And we do have some bumps, and it's always about emotional boundaries.
You have Pluto in Libra?
Do I have Pluto in Libra?
No, you have Pluto in Virgo.
In Virgo? Okay.
Right.
How far is it in Virgo? Is it towards the end?
Let me look.
I want to see what's in.
She's about to go through her. Aren't you about to go through your second Saturn return?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm in it.
Yeah.
Like Rob told me, Rob Stewart, I don't know if you guys remember him yet, but Rob told me, he goes, yeah, you're fully in it. Like right now during all these changes is my Saturn return. And I've been really meditating and praying to see like what's deep inside there that I'm not seeing. Like help me see what I can't see, because I want to be liberated from whatever way it's compromising my best version. You know what I mean? I'm definitely
in Pisces. It's harder to,
it's
harder to see.
It's really Neptunian. Yeah. And it's got that I'm a Mars and Venus and Gemini, right? So I can talk myself in and out of fucking anything. Do you know what I mean? So like it's a really important thing for me to kind of like be one-eyed almost, like to get focused and stay, okay, this is where I'm going regardless of the activity. But I'm just being careful that I'm not overriding something truthful. That's why I brought in the deep combos with my sisters. I was like, let's do the Ho'oponopono. Let's talk about the things we love about each other. Let's talk about what we're sorry for, what we forgive each other. Let's unpack a little bit by this ocean and make sure we leave each other as clean as possible. As I go to Utah, I don't want us to be holding any garbage in there of what we did. Like, I'm sorry I did this. I see this now. Like we cleaned up. It was powerful and like beautiful things were expressed. And I became so soft. My voice was like a little girl's when I was with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's an innocence that those relationships have with your siblings sometimes, you know, and once you keep hurting each other, you lose some of that innocence. For a few moments, we touch that innocence.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking for that in my prayer. I'm like, show me what I can't see, because I'm just not sure where I am blind, but I'm open to, you know, seeing it. But like you said, the Pisces stuff is tricky, and I'm just intuitively doing whatever I think I'm supposed to do to try to say, okay, what else do I got to see? Like, show me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to wake up all the way.
I think as it progresses, you know, you'll see and more so feel it. I think that's the thing with Pisces. It might not even be about seeing it. It's just intuitively knowing, like you said, being guided by that and really being able to trust it, because it's Saturn, you know, and Saturn wants you to, when you know, put in, there's a lot of healing that can happen too. And there's, you know, it really is actually, you know, removing the illusions, I think, more than anything with that
Yeah,
energy.
that's been the big thing. I think the illusion of being separate is safe is one of the things that I've come up with that is in the depths of me. That separate is safe. And so I'll get connected, but with a safe distance.
Right.
Right. And so to recognize that safety is in the oneness, not in the separation. That's the sense of my intuitive sense of what's upon me.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
So you said second in the oneness of what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, I used to believe separate was safe, right? I had to make myself separate to feel safe. And now I'm recognizing that the true safety is in the oneness. And the ability to come into that and surrender and to work with the collective energies in a way that, you know, wherever I stand, I can, with my incredible, I will say the biggest resource that I might be to the, whatever the universal plan is I must know at least 12, if not 15 kings really well. Like, I have been doing king court for a long time. So I really wonder how those kings work together, like Game of Thrones kind of stuff, and really recognize that this oneness is upon us and it's a much better path, but we're very addicted, embedded, ancestrally lineage to this separation game. That separate is safe, and my way is this way, and our way is this way. Like, still stay unique, still stay flaring your, you know, your rainbow, however it is, but you're still part of everything.
And I think that answers the question Nick had in the chat. He said, how do you use the second eye with those one-eyed cards? What she just said. You know what I mean? You're not separate. You know, you are, but you're, you know, it's that, yes, you have your individualism, but it's you can't, there is, you know, I think the king energy is very like, I can do it on my own. I don't need you. That's why the king of clubs has that two of spades as a challenge. You know, partnerships are not, you know, they shouldn't be that challenging, but you have to open up to, I think the kings have such their own perspective and their own, you know, that yours isn't good enough. Yours isn't, you know, to my standards, because it, you know, it's a higher standard. It's maturity and everything else. But it's interesting to me how the king of diamonds transforms into one of the most youngest, playful energy. So,
like you said, we're meant to be like the children of God. You don't want to lose that youthfulness. I'm never telling you not to lose the youthfulness. I'm just saying, don't say I don't want to anything. Say yes, I'm gonna, and I'm ready.
Yeah, I still don't want to be, I don't want to grow up. So it's way more fun to be a kid. You know, my kids don't realize how like good you have it when like you don't have to worry about all the responsibilities that come with, you know.
Yeah, I don't think I got to not worry about responsibilities, but I'll say that seven of spades is the anchor though. The faith that came with the character that I'm playing is really helped me recognize that oneness stuff and that other stuff, because I'm not a big competitive businessy girl. Like, I'm not trying to make a killing. Like, I'm not driven like that. I'm really driven by the curiosity of how everything works together. I think that's everything. So interesting stuff. Thanks for talking about transforming more out loud. It's really cool to feel how alive the cards are.
No, yeah.
Us.
And the way that you see it and the way you tell your story is very important as well. And And like you said, looking at the transformation card and being able to understand it from the point of the experience, but the experience is based upon your point of view. Like Gina adds all of the other positions astrologically, shapes and modes it as well. So, and I think meeting that card in real life, I recommend anyone to like really look at the cards around you, like birthdays and people around you, and look at these relationships, and you'll be able to see like how am I growing, or what is it that I'm supposed to learn. I think, and you'll be able to see the reflection. I always call the sevens the reflections. Looking at yourself in this mirror. Like, is this really true? Is this the story that I should be telling myself?
Because it's going to show up on the outside.
That's
the thing.
100%.
You're gonna see that. Like, and if you're aware and you're conscious, that 7, it's literally like your brain here, outside of there, and then and so it's what you think, what you feel, what you believe, and it's like, oh wow. And so if you don't like what this is, you have to change where it's coming from, because it's not coming from the outside, it's coming from the inside. And what I have found with the 7s and people spread, like if you're doing a weekly or 7-week or yearly, whatever, 7s, 4s, and aces has been I found the link to that. Because the 7s, we swing, right? We tend to take ourselves out of the present moment, which to me is a 4, staying grounded, staying secure in the moment, in the now, being stable, because the 7s are a seesaw, right? And I look at the 4 as the balance, right? But the aces have always shown up with the 7s, and that to me is like, it's you. It's the reflection of what you think, what you feel, what you believe, what you put in your body, right? So your health, 7 of spades, if you got diarrhea, what you been eating, what you been thinking. You got diarrhea of the mind, you're gonna have diarrhea of the ass too. You know what I mean?
Dr. Gina in the house.
I do transform into a 4 of spades, so no, I can heal you.
Those working cards are information.
I will heal you. But it's true. It's a reflection of you, the ace. So if you look in the spreads, you'll see it. They come together with the 9 too, because if you don't like it, that's when you let it, you really, you release it, you let it go.
Well, I need to go to a 10 o'clock, but please persist. I wonder if you guys would tolerate a paragraph of this poem. There's a friend of mine. Oh, good. Someone's got a question. Please answer it for them. But a friend of mine, a Jack of Hearts, who lost her partner, and they're having a memorial this weekend after the eclipse. She gave me this thing to type up for her so she could read it. And it wasn't hers. It's a copy of something. But boy, this last few things says, love is not a mistake. Love is not an accident. Love is not a way out. Love is our way in. Love is a risk. Love is a loss. Love is a revolution. Love makes clear every fear we must work through. Love reveals every reason to make the effort. Love imitates us, leaves us forever changed, forever marked, forever awakened to what is possible. It's longer than that, but I really dig that. I'll send you a copy.
I love it.
I'll put it in our chat.
I'm sorry for her loss.
It's a really beautiful thing that how he was an older man, but like he initiated the farm. Her and he had a farm back in the 80s and 90s called Nature's Friends Farm. And now this Earthman farm that is still a collection of those people who've known each other 30 and 40 years. So there's a huge gathering of everything coming together. So in my sense, he passed at a perfect time for this to come together. And he was very sick and it was his time. He'd had a couple of heart attacks and things like strokes. So, and it's just magical what's happening to her and how she's changing, like the transformation that's happening to her, letting that all the way go. They've been separated a long time. A lot had happened, but she's changing, and the support that's coming around her and the way she's flowering as a Jack of Hearts, she's 61. Amazing.
4 of spades. Protected.
She's definitely becoming very protected. And the ancestors are everywhere at the farm. Like, it's just insane. Like, I'm going to do the bowls and just have a party with all the ancestors on Saturday.
What was his card? Do you know?
I can't remember. I will remember. I'll ask her.
Okay.
because I'll get it to you. I don't remember, but I will.
I'm just curious. I'm curious.
Oh, me too. I thought it too, and I wish I had the answer. All right. Appreciate you guys so much. Enjoy the questions. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you. Yeah, we just answered this one question I have to go to.
Okay.
So guys, would you use transformation cards when looking at where your cards are placed? Example, Venus, King of Spades transformation is Venus, King of Diamonds. I guess looking at the spreads, like my Ace of Spades being the transformation to a diamonds, and I'm a Mercury. That's my Mercury. I'm assuming. Is that what you mean? Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, you can look at it, especially like a planetary ruling card, or I look at the Vedic astrology as well, and it gives the planet with the highest degree, like the leader amongst the planets, right? Like I believe it's called your Karaka, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back and look at it again. But so that's like the leading energy, right? And
be about relationships. If that Venus, Venus is going to be how you relate, value, second house. So yeah.
Yeah. So if your Venus 10 of spades, that is what is that? The Ace of Clubs.
Well, it wouldn't sit there, right?
Yeah, Ace of Clubs, Venus is 10 of spades.
Oh yeah. I see what you got. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah. No, you're fine. So that's
we'll sit in the Ace of Clubs.
I was gonna say that Nick is here. I was like, you should have joined us. I'm sorry, you should have joined us, Nick. But yeah, so Nick in the Ace of Clubs, and that makes a lot of sense. I think the Ace of Clubs, I think they love the King of Diamonds from Nick, what Nick says, right? So yeah, most definitely looking at the relationships that you create, like Gina said, like that's like the second house. I can also go around the things that you value or find value in. So Nick is always around groups of information, knowledge gaining, developing himself and adding to his tool shed, right? And then also he makes a lot of money, I think. He can, right, from like organizations and groups and gathering of people. I think the Ace of Clubs have like fan clubs, they're very popular people. So yeah, most definitely there's a lot of value, I think, coming from that 10 space. So looking at it from that perspective, I give all the planets the same amount of weight, but there's definitely a story that you can learn. And so looking at those cards and seeing how they work and understanding that period in your life. So there's periods, 13-year periods that you grow into, like your Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and those things. So most definitely. And what you want to say anything, Jenna?
No, I think, the 10 of spades transforms to the King of Diamonds naturally, so that, that's why the 10 of spades is such a, the work that it puts in, and if it's your Venus, so work through relationships, right? You may prosper more with that, when you got to work harder maybe at relationships, and there can be a lot of success, but there's growth there. And that 10 is a one with your higher self. And then you think about how it transforms to the King of Diamonds, which is like the highest achievement in values and worth and prosperity and responsibility. So there is that essence of growth that has to happen, and maybe it happens through relationships, with that 10 with Venus.
Yeah, the 10 of spades, for when I look at the 10 of spades, is group work, it's healing as well, A
lot of physicality too. I've noticed. I remember I had that card as a daily card one day, and I take classes, and I was doing an exercise, and I was like, God dang, yo, this is killing. And what happened was there was an extra weight on the machine, and I didn't know it. So I was like, I was, holy shit. Like it was, but afterwards I was like, I did that. Like it was a lot of physical power, willpower. And I'm the type of person, like, give me the extra weight. I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to do it. I want the challenge. I want to, prove myself that I can take it on. Like I'm very physical. I love to be very physical. So I don't mind. Give me the extra weight. Give me the extra, match or whatever it is. And, the extra few seconds because I want to put it in. That 10 of spades I felt was like a lot of energy to be able to kind of, exude. And even like that's what they say about the 10 of clubs. It's an increase of your mind. So you having that physical power to put that energy somewhere is important,
Mm-hmm. No, yeah. And it has the 5 of clubs Mercury.
Right.
So yeah, I think looking at the 5 of clubs, they have to exhaust their energy somehow, right?
Or they're gonna go crazy.
Yeah, take a walk, right?
For Cocoa Puffs in their head.
So because Nina always talks about the 10s and that 10 of space, how it is fire, coming from your circle and using that energy. You have to expel that energy in some type of way. Yeah, when the space show up, it's going to come up as something physical as well.
Your health. You're taking, you more aware, I think, of your body and what it's doing, what it's not doing, how it's feeling. And then I think too, there's the responsibility of like, you have to own what you put into it, what you do or don't do physically. You know what I mean? I think that's a big part of that, that spade energy, no matter what it is like, it's the work that you put in. You're going to get the results, but you got to put in the work. You can't just sit there and expect to have physical strength if you don't move your muscles, if you don't train them, if you don't, you know what I mean? If you don't work them, extend them, express them too. And then also we think about as well, our body there's a lot of emotional buildup in there as well. And if you don't exert that, and I think that's important about knowing your placements. I talk about how I like to train. I like to and I realize I have my whole row is in Mars. I need to fight. I need to be physical. I need to put that somewhere, or I can become extremely combative. And that's not good for anybody. It's usually with my words and then my arms. So not good. So I have to so it makes sense why I've always been, being active is important for me. I need to move my body. I have a lot of energy, so I have to be able to put it. And I have a lot of fire inside of me. I have a lot of fire placements too.
And looking at that 5 of clubs, it comes from Jupiter Mars. So
there you go.
So it comes from that Mars position.
That's a lot of gas. You know what I mean? Like when you think about it, there's a lot of gas. There's a lot of going, and it can be over. And if it doesn't, I think 5 of clubs need to train because it helps to probably calm that mental.
Martial mix martial arts, so any type of combative, type of protective bodily movement, I think would be good for them. Like you said, it can definitely have the 9 of space and Pluto already.
Right.
So that
they gotta get it out. They gotta let it go. They gotta move. They gotta remember that cycles of things going in, things coming out. You know what I mean? So if they don't flow, they can be disruptive. That's why you pay attention to 5 days, 5 of club days, 5 of clubs week. Things can blow, because of that 9 of spades and Pluto. I've seen there was an explosion. I've seen the volcanoes erupt on 5 of clubs days.
Yeah.
They're blowing.
Yeah. So I haven't looked at that. That's very interesting. So looking at so it is a 5 clubs week. I do have to go. So these are the particular dates here. We'll start posting the dates up at the bottom as well. I changed the title because I definitely put the title as the 4 of spades, and that was last week. We didn't meet last. Oh, it was just me and Gorisha, right?
I had my daughter's school thing.
Yeah. So, and how did it go? Everything was.
It was good. It was family picnic day. For their lunch, they had like food trucks out there. You bring a blanket and they sit out in the field, and families show up to eat lunch with the kids. They do it every year. It's awesome.
During the was it
4 of clubs week?
4 plus week. I said 4 spades. What are these spades coming to me like that? So I have to
Because
go
we're
back.
in spades daily. It's spades, the daily energy.
Right. Okay.
You'll
All
get
right.
it together one day, Rashad.
I know. No, these past 2-3 days, I get, like I said, I gave a personal role reading. I have to like totally look at what the heck is going on with me. Like I have to like the emotional. Everything is like raging. So, all right. So I'm gonna get it together. I may need a break today. I may call out at work today because I need a mental health day. Obviously. I'm still here a little bit. Like these cards, I guess, isn't going nowhere overall, but I need a mental health day. So we love y'all. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Gina growing with the cards, right?
Guided by the cards.
Guided by the cards. Oh my gosh! Look, I need a mental health day.
You need to go to bed. You need to sleep.
Yes, I think that's what it is. I think sleep deprivation has caught up with me. Yeah. So I appreciate y'all. And we'll talk to y'all later.
Bye, guys. Peace.